I just want to start this video off by asking a question. Were you really confused at the end of Nocturne? What's with the yellow light? Why did Juliet's hands turn red in the water? Why does Moira write on the wall? Who is Tartini? What's the sun symbol on the notebook? Who's the ghost girl in the mirror? What does the ending mean? What does the movie mean? Well, like all my ending explained videos, I did some research and really thought about it, and I think I've wrapped my head around this thing. To break it down, I'm going to use 3 themes. 1, the devil's deal with Tartini, where I'll explain Tartini's story, the hallway picture, and the title. 2, Lucifer and Juliet, where I'll talk about Lucifer's story, the burning star, the yellow light, the ghost girl in the mirror, and Juliet's red hands. And 3, the ending, where I'll tie in everything I spoke about before and wrap it up into the ending, and much more. And if you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment, it helps so much. And if you want to see more of these, please make sure to subscribe as well. Let's get started. Okay, theme number 1, the devil's deal with Tartini. This story was described at the dinner table quite well by Mr. Cask, but I'll give a little more detail on it. Okay, so in the 1700s, a young composer named Giuseppe Tartini was struggling to make money and to book shows for his violin playing. The composer was actually contemplating suicide. However, one night in a dream, the devil appeared at his bed. The devil said, "In exchange for your soul, I will be your servant and teacher." Tartini accepted the offer, and the devil taught him an incredible song. Tartini woke up, remembered the song, didn't kill himself, and the song easily was his most popular. He kind of became a one-hit wonder. The song went on to be remembered as the Devil's Trill, the same song that's in the movie. In the film, Mr. Cass says Vivian plays like the devil was at the door, but Moira plays like the devil was in the room. He was clearly referring to this story in which Moira also exchanged with the devil her soul for musical excellence, and throughout the film we see Juliet do this as well. That's also why we see this painting of a little boy playing piano. I would definitely assume this is a picture of a young Tartini, symbolizing that this hallway, this film, this story is Tartini's path to musical excellence and sacrifice of soul. This story about Tartini also inspires the title of the movie, Nocturne, which means a song inspired by the night. You could also tie the title in with the fact that Juliet's music becomes more and more inspired by her dark side, which brings me to theme number 2. Okay, theme number 2, Lucifer and Juliet. The most obvious thing with this theme is that this journal is the devil's point of contact with the reader. Moira owned the journal, tragedy started happening, and she made the sacrifice. And the moment Juliet comes in contact with the journal, she steals her sister's peace and gets more and more relentless. And more interestingly, when Juliet has the notebook, Juliet's story becomes quite similar to the story of Lucifer, aka the devil. Here's why. In Lucifer's story, he became so impressed with his own beauty, intelligence, and power that he began to desire for himself the glory that belonged to God. This is very similar to how Juliet built more and more confidence and wanted to steal her sister's glory. Lucifer entered a life of sin and was eventually cast to the lake of fire and brimstone. Juliet also enters a life of sin, and I think this moment with the burnt red hands at the end of the film was a symbol for the lake of fire. This biblical story was famously known as Lucifer's fall from grace, and we literally see Juliet fall from grace at the end of the film. Lucifer's name, when translated from Latin, means morning star, which I think is what this burning star symbol means. It basically shows that Lucifer is watching you as you complete his 6-step process. Lucifer was also known as Lightbringer, which I think is why we see the yellow light that leads Juliet down her path of jealousy, betrayal, and sacrifice. Based on my research, I don't think the 6 steps have any biblical history or religious tie-in. I just think they were created by the writers to carry the story, which makes sense because that's what pretty much drove the plot. It could tie in with the 7 deadly sins, probably, but that's as far as I would say it goes. I think Moira's writing on the wall was how the devil communicated the 6 steps to her. It's all scrambled on the wall, but I'm sure while possessed, she wrote messages like this and interpreted the different messages and wrote it clearly into her book. The smiling ghost in the mirror was certainly Moira, and Juliet saw her in the reflection because of course Juliet is going down the exact same path as Moira. And why was Ghost Moira smiling? I'll answer that question in theme number 3. The ending. Okay, so clearly when we get to the end of this movie, 2 endings seem to be happening at the same time. In one case, Juliet freezes, abandons the stage, and commits suicide. In another case, Juliet performs her piece, and the crowd is floored. I know this ending is subjective and it can be taken in many ways, but my theory is that neither of the 2 ending shots are actually real life. I do think Juliet abandoned the stage, and she did jump off the roof just like Moira, and here's my explanation for it. Moira went through the exact same 6-step process that Juliet went went through. This is proven at the beginning of the film when we hear the bell chime 6 times, symbolizing the 6 steps that she has taken. After we see Moira fall off the building, she is just dead. The students acknowledge she's dead, the school acknowledges she's dead, and the parents know she's dead. So it wouldn't make sense that Juliet would live on successfully after doing all of the same steps that Moira did. I think Juliet did die, and the shot of her successful performance is some sort of mental paradise that she will live in where she is appreciated for her talent and success. And this explains why she's smiling as she's dying at the end of the film. She finally got what she wanted in return for her soul. This also ties in and explains why Ghost Moira was smiling in the mirror. She also got the same thing in exchange for her soul. And I think the final shot of her dead body laying there as the students casually ignore her is a metaphor for how the school will never truly remember or appreciate who she truly was. Moira was also not truly appreciated as a person when she died. The students continuously made fun of her for being weird, and the staff decided to replace her only 6 weeks after her death. Just like Moira and just like Tartini, Juliet will be remembered for her short moment of talent as a musician, but not at all for who she truly was as a person. Alright, that's my analysis. Please let me know in the comments what your thoughts and theories were for this movie, because I know it can go in so many different directions. I hope you subscribe so I can see you again. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.